Welcome to another episode of All Out in the Open. Today, Michael and I are joined by Kit and Bree Borrowman. We are so excited to have them here. Just as I'm going to let them kind of introduce themselves and their story a little bit, but before we do that, I'm just going to say I have a really sweet tie to these ladies, and Kit is my cousin, so our dads are brothers.
Aww.
And so I remember, I think it was during COVID, right, Kit, when you called me, and actually, do you remember how you even knew to call me? I'm trying to think.
Ann Pack was down at all.
And Pack.
And I saw you. I don't know if I saw her. I think you responded to a post she made. And I'm like,
That's
wait.
what it was. Okay.
That's my cousin.
I know Liz.
I know Liz. That's my cousin. So I reached out to you.
Oh, I'm so glad that happened. I'm so glad that we were able to be along on your ride a little bit. Tell us a little bit about yourselves. How about just basic, not about your whole story yet, but just tell us who you are, what you do for fun. Give us a little bit about each of you. You start, because we know you like to talk.
So, okay, I'm Bree. I currently work as a school teacher.
Very nice.
I teach science in a local charter school.
Okay.
This is like my third career. So prior to that, I worked in the fire department as a firefighter EMT.
Yes.
Before that, I worked in IT. So way back in the day before PCs were even invented.
Whoa.
So
I don't
long
think I knew
history
that.
there.
Ah.
Let's see. And we have been married 45 years.
Wow.
So
Wow.
we've got kind of a long history. It's a long story between us.
Yes.
And that's what I do, what I like. At one time, Kit turned to me and said, if you get another hobby, you're going to have to give one up. Little did she know at the time that I had so many hobbies because I was dealing with my dysphoria and my incongruence. I was just trying to stay busy all the time.
Yeah.
Now I don't have quite so many hobbies. Projects around the house, yard work, gardening we like. I think my biggest time consumer, riding bicycle. So
Nice.
I do
You're a
ride a
road
lot of
biker,
bike.
right?
Yeah, road bike. I put about 6,000 miles on a road
Whoa.
bike a year.
Wow.
And that's another thing that's carried over. I did it as a kid. Anytime I felt my incongruence or dysphoria welling up, I would take off on a bike. And the endorphins and the exercise would help. And so, not that I do it anymore for my incongruence or dysphoria, I just do it because I love it.
Every loves life and everything about it. So I always say she can do anything but hurry.
Anything but curry or hurry?
Hurry.
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 If you want something done quickly, don't ask me. I don't like timelines.
You're also, do I recall this right, Bree, that you're very handy, like construction type things as well? Am I making that up?
As I said, yeah,
A little bit.
she's built
Yeah.
8 houses,
Yeah, okay.
Whoa.
See? Okay,
Wow.
yeah. I thought I was like
Pretty much.
remembering it.
finished a
Wow.
lot of basements.
Pretty much build 8 homes by myself.
Oh my gosh.
So I've done
Okay, so
everything.
that's beyond handy, but
Yeah.
By
yes.
That's-
hand.
Yeah, okay.
It's a whole nother level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And everybody calls me when they need a water heater replaced. I'm like, no, wait, I don't know.
No,
I do.
she's not advertising.
No.
Not advertising. No.
Okay,
That's
Kit,
great.
tell us a little bit about yourself.
I raised a family with Bree. I substituted, worked at the school, did PTA for many years. Still substituting at Bree School now.
Oh,
I
nice.
love to read. I don't really like yard work, but I like to but I like to see things grow, so I'll do a minimal amount.
She likes to watch me do
I
yard
like
work.
to, yeah, I like to watch Bree do a lot of things, hold the ladder, stuff like that. I sew. I sew for a nonprofit. I volunteer for them
Oh,
for Turtle Shelter Project. It's a foam technology that is warm even when it's wet. I met the founder at an event that when we had first started our journey, right after COVID, a queer event. Some of our
LGBTQIA
LGBTQ
group,
friends put a group together and we went out and did it. And that's when I met the founder. And now I
Wow.
Been
spend
involved ever
hours and
since.
hours at home sewing because it's a calming, comforting thing to me. I don't have to be creative. I just get to serve, but do something that I'm pretty good at. So anyway,
That is so cool.
that's what I'm doing now. And
Aw.
yeah, I was a grandma, very involved grandma for a lot of years, busy doing that. And yeah, so people ask me if I'm retired. I'm like, do you retire from part-time volunteer work? So no, I guess not.
no.
But anyway,
Well,
I love
I'm
that.
so glad for people to get to know both of you a little bit better. Bree, would you be willing to share just briefly a bit of your story of transitioning? Because that was around COVID time, correct? Is that about right? I know
Yeah,
that
that's right,
I know
yeah.
that you've had these feelings your whole life, and you can share that. But what I mean is, you actually started to transition at that point.
Yeah, I was going to say, share my story. That's like 67 years to unpack. So that's a long story. Let's not do the whole 67 years. So let's
Perfect.
kind of cut in somewhere. So, yes, as you mentioned, I recognized at a young age that I just felt differently. That incongruence. Yeah, I was uncomfortable
Yes.
and just felt like things were off a little bit all my life. Dealt with that again, like we said, by finding coping mechanisms, riding a lot of bicycle, having a lot of hobbies, being busy. As long as I could keep my brain and my hands busy while I was awake, I was okay. Still, there are times, as hard as you try, every now and then you're just like, oof, just something's wrong, something's off. Um, for me, my incongruence was manageable by just keeping busy, but the dysphoria that was brought on by that was just really strong. So anyway, cut forward after building 8 homes by myself, getting married, doing all the things I was supposed to do to get healed, to get better.
Yeah.
I'm still dealing with it. Yeah, I had an experience just prior to COVID. So I guess part of this is no one was ever going to know. This was going to go to my grave. I knew that if anyone ever knew about my authentic self, they would leave me. I was so afraid that I would lose Kit, I would lose a family, I would lose everything. And so I did what I could to survive. I did what I could to keep our marriage together. And so, a lot of that is hiding. Hiding who I was, hiding stuff, not admitting, keeping it down as much as I could because I felt that was the way to keep my marriage together. Anyway, a little experience before COVID where I
except that along that time, while she did it, she was dressing when I didn't know. She was expressing herself, because that's part of what's going to happen. She was expressing herself when I wasn't at home or when she went out of town for business or whatever, dressing and posting pictures under a pseudo name and stuff like that. So then, just before COVID,
It's that dysphoria. You deal with it,
Yeah.
and then you're like, I'm going to blow up if I don't do something.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, you get a couple articles of clothing and you do what you can and you dress up. And part of that whole incongruence of dysphoria is you wonder if you could ever be out in public and be accepted or perceived as your authentic self. And it's a huge fear. You know that if you go out in public as your authentic self, they're gonna know that. Well, what is termed a man in a dress, and that's just a scary thought that you'd be rejected as your authentic self. And so you dress up, you feel pretty good, and then you feel horrible and awful, and no, I can't pull this off, and you take it off and you throw it away and you swear never to do it again. But yeah, I'd taken some pictures, put them out on social media, hoping that I would get some positive feedback.
so it's kind of part of both of our stories. And then 10 years ago, I found a receipt, picked up her phone. Our son passed away. I picked up her phone and found a receipt for
Because
something
we were
she bought.
prepping for the funeral.
Yeah. And what is this? That's how I found out. She was never going to tell me. And then
Wow.
2 weeks after that, we adopted a foster kid. But so that was 10 years ago. So we talked about and the story can be really long, but I'm trying to get, so I knew 10 years ago, but we had a discussion. Neither of us knew words for it. Bree's like, I don't really know. And
I
we
couldn't
talked.
explain it.
And so she said,
Yeah.
I swear I'll never, we talked a little bit about what had been happening. And she said, I swear it'll never happen again.
I felt the guilt and the
Guilt.
shame
And
about
so-
how horrible that was.
So she stuffed it down and wouldn't
I'm
talk
like,
to me about it anymore. And so so that was kind of it. I had to do my own research. I actually, kind of keeping this incongruent. A friend of mine who also adopted a foster child, my little boy's little brother, started telling me about a mutual friend of no, it wasn't a mutual friend at the time, started telling me, because I was really having a hard time with all of this stuff going on, and she started telling me about this friend of hers whose spouse was transitioning to female. And I'm like, oh. And I kind of said, yeah, that's what's happening with me. And she said, I know, that's why I'm telling you this. And so she put me in touch with that wife. And I don't know how she knew. She barely knew Bree.
She only
She just
talked to
felt-
me twice.
She was just felt inspired to do this and
Wow.
to tell me. And so she put me in touch with that wife. And that's how I met a group of spouses of transgender people. So I actually learned more about transgender than Bree did for a number of years then.
Denial.
Denial, she did. So I was searching through it, looking at it anyway. And she was still denying because they were inviting her and she said, no way, I'm not going places with them. And then, then just before COVID in November, that's all up to this, Bree has this experience. Go ahead.
So, went in to an interview for a temple recommend.
Okay.
And there was a laptop on the desk, and the laptop spun around, and there was a picture of me from 6-7 years previously dressed up
Wow.
that this person had found on social media. And I was like, whoa, is this you? No, that's not me. Horror panic sets in. Well, I think it is. Well, it's not. Well, I see differently. Okay, that is me, but that was 7 years ago.
Okay, next.
So that's when, the end result was I didn't get a recommend. So I had to come home and I had to tell Kit, I don't have a recommend, and this is why.
Yeah.
So what I was never going to tell Kit now is out in the open.
I knew, but now everybody knows it because this person knows it, which isn't true, but that's what you feel like. Yeah.
And part of that was now I had just told Kit that I felt incongruence and dysphoria,
Right.
And she didn't miss a beat. She was immediately my biggest, strongest advocate.
Of course, I did have those 10 years.
She did have
I
the
did
10
have those
years.
6 years before.
She did have some background.
To prepare
Yeah,
and
6
stuff.
years before.
But, yeah. So,
So she was kind of ready for it, and it wasn't as big of a shock for her as I thought it was going to be. And I realized immediately that I could survive. This wasn't death. She wasn't going to leave me. I wasn't going to lose it all. And I knew if I had her support that everything could work out. It could be okay. So that was just prior to COVID.
and so because we were home and I was open to her going ahead and exploring and dressing, because you're home all by yourself.
Yeah.
I think that's what happened to a lot of people during COVID,
What
right?
else you do during
What else?
COVID?
So, and I was fine with that. So that's why she gradually transitioned through there, and she was at home teaching school online, so she could do that. So that's kind of why, and so much happier. She was so much happier, and I'd already always kind of felt like, you can't really stuff that stuff down and keep it quiet. So I always felt like that maybe there was something.
Yeah.
She was quiet. She's broody, more moody than she is now, and so, but not really that much. I mean, she's still amazing.
I was quiet. Can you believe that?
Yeah.
You're
A lot
dealing
quieter.
with a few things.
Yeah.
So she was so happy and outgoing. It's like, okay, this is going to be fine. So that's, there's a lot more to it, but that's kind of how it went. So that's when.
Tell us about how that went at school, like when you went back. When you went back after, you could be in person at school again.
Right.
Did you go back transition?
So that's kind of a long story too, but
Okay, sorry.
that's still fun. So it was before COVID even,
I think it was.
because even before, so this was in November, December, January-ish, when this was all happening, I sent an email to my principal. And I said, this is what's going on. I experienced gender incongruence and gender dysphoria. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know where this is going. I'm not sure if I'll ever show up at school authentic or not. But I want you to hear it from me, not from someone else.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Just so you know. It was less than 5 minutes that the principal and the school administrator walked into my room.
Wow.
And the principal said, if you think this changes anything, it doesn't. We love you. We value you. We can't, this school can't function without you, kind of. And it's okay.
That's awesome.
We're behind you. And the
Wow.
school administrator said, if you think you're going to leave this school because of this, I'm not going to write you a letter of recommendation. You're
I love
That's the
it.
kind of strong arming I like.
Yeah, yeah.
like, okay, I guess it'll be
gonna work.
okay. And then we hit COVID.
Yeah.
And for a while I was in that in-between stage. There were certain times that I would show up male mode. And part of that was because if I would be male on Sunday, I could have my recommend back. And so for a while, I was more authentic during the week, and I was male mode on Sunday. And that went on for a little while until I just couldn't deal with it. Saturday was a horrible day for me. The stress and the anxiety and the fear and the guilt, and it all built back up. And I'm like, I can't do this.
So she started,
Yeah.
pierced her ears, started growing her hair out a little bit, colored her hair, it was shorter.
One little thing at a time.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
wore a little bit of makeup and then a little bit more makeup. So she, just did a little bit before COVID and then.
And I
during
heard
COVID.
somebody say once, how do you know how far to transition? And the answer was, you transition to the point of your dysphoria until it goes away.
Yeah.
And so it's
And
kind of a
that's
moving
different for
target
everybody,
for
right?
a little while.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
is different.
Yeah. So everybody's like, "Well, wait, is this like, are you just trying this, or is it not real, or you're just making this up?" And you're like, "No, it's a moving target again. You just keep working at it until you feel good finally, or feel like yourself." Anyway,
Yeah.
and then when I
I
went
think,
back to school, I think that was your question. Went back to school, a little transitioned. I wasn't dressing masculine anymore. And over the next couple years,
Went from Mr.
found
Borrowman to
myself,
Borrowman to
went
Mrs.
from Mr.
Borrowman.
Borrowman to Borrowman. Hey, Borrowman. And then started, dressing more authentically at school. I'll never forget, in between classes at our school, we stand out in the hall just to maintain some type of order.
Right.
And I would stand out at the door, and a group of the girls would come down the hall, and they're like, "Bree, we can't wait to see what you're going to wear tomorrow."
oh, that's so cute.
I feel the
It was-
same way when I see Bree. I
It
can't wait
was
to see what
just
she's
so
wearing.
fun. They were excited. They were more than 100% supportive. They loved it, and it just made me feel so welcomed. And they really reached out at my school to just embrace me. I have had
And the parents, and maybe
I've had
two.
zero
Well, not zero.
zero negativity
Not
at
zero.
school.
There's been a couple emails, but
Oh, couple
maybe
anonymous
two.
emails.
Maybe two.
Yeah. Keyboard
And,
warriors.
you know,
Yeah.
so, yeah. Just
So
a
there was
few.
there was a parent in before school signing their kid up for all their classes and stuff, and they mentioned to the head secretary, who was one of my big allies, of course.
Right.
They said, "I don't know about my student having Barrowman," and she said, "Excuse me, you're lucky to have Mrs. Barrowman as your kid's teacher. Probably the best science teacher your kid will ever have. And if you don't like it, you can take your kid to another school."
Wow.
So that's kind of
Wow.
how it went for me as
I'm so
I
glad, Bree. That's
as I
actually remarkable.
transitioned
Yeah.
while I was teaching at school.
That's an
Um,
incredible experience just in
I
any
had a couple.
workplace, let alone
Yeah.
a school. Like that's really remarkable. Wow.
It is. It's been great. Yeah.
Yeah.
So grateful for that.
Yes. So happy
Really.
that you've had that experience.
So you have, what as you're transitioning, as your life is, with church and with family is, going through the, for sure, growing pains, and people around you, like Kit had to do research and
Right.
learn and meet people and try to understand a very different experience than she was familiar with.
Yeah.
What did you find? Because Michael and I's episodes kind of focus on community and bridge building. Where did you find community that was helpful and that filled you up as you might have lost some other community?
I don't know that we lost anything. We were pretty secluded, even.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Really?
but we did really gain some good friends through this gal that I met, and then through that whole community of women. Kind of interesting. On a lot of Facebooks, I would go on and think, well, my experience is so much better than that. I'm great. I'm doing really good because I didn't have the complaints that a lot of people did. The anxieties and but I was just really grateful for the Facebook group. It was North Star that we started out with. Sorry, I'm a frog. And so we were able to meet a community, and just meeting the LGBTQ community. They're so loving and accepting and kind that it was like okay, we're okay. I don't know about Liz's family, but our family is not a hugging family. At least my family wasn't. I guess I do remember our family reunions. My uncles did hug me, but I didn't grow up in a family that hugged. And so that was a new experience for me to go there, and everybody.
Wait a minute.
And I'm a pretty good hugger now. I kind of like it, so I have learned that, and have learned. Interesting. I learned the energy that you can get from a hug from someone that you feel like really cares for you, right? And so, yeah, having different places gathers kind of the same way, where you can go and meet people all across the valley and all across sometimes the world that know. I mean, and across states, that I reconnected with Liz, that we've met Michael, and now we see you often, and it's like, oh, that's my good friend. And so we have just loved the community we found with the LGBTQ community, and it's just, I think, sad for other people who are afraid of it, that they miss out on the good, kind people in the community that we have found.
Yeah.
I will echo that. When we started holding gatherings at our house, Eric just immediately, and I think the cooks down here with also, were good examples of this, but he's like, when people come to our home, we hug them when they come in, which it's not that we're not huggy people, but we didn't do that. Like if I went to a church activity, I wasn't hugging everyone. And I'm not saying that we all have to do that everywhere we go. I am echoing what you're saying. There is something really special about that. And there is an energy that is passed of, hey, I see you. I love that you're here. Welcome,
Yeah. That physical act of giving someone a hug and making them feel welcome. I love that about this community, right? The way that we truly appreciate each other and want to connect with someone, right? Like that's such a beautiful way of being with one another. So,
and then we have to learn social etiquette, as in, are you okay with a hug?
Absolutely.
Especially in the trans community with non-binary. And some of the younger kids, they don't necessarily want you to touch them.
Yeah,
so,
that's true.
We learn that as we go along too. Are you okay with this? Some of them love it, some of them don't. I really enjoyed watching them become more comfortable and then wanting a hug after months of some of our groups and stuff. So,
that's cool.
But I think that's something that maybe, we all continue to grow and learn as we get older.
Sure.
I've learned, with small children, it's like, even with my grandchildren, can I have a hug? Are you okay with giving me a hug? We don't insist on it,
Right.
And I think that that's something that we've learned over the years, that you can really love a hug or you cannot. And so asking and honoring their decision.
Yeah.
I think is a really,
Love that.
I think that makes them feel loved and seen also.
Absolutely.
Definitely. Yes.
Greeting
Bree,
them by
how
name, but you don't have, go ahead, sorry, Liz.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I interrupted you. I was just asking Bree, how has community helped you? Like you said, you didn't have language for even trans probably at the beginning. So, and as you weren't comfortable going to the group that Kit was going to, and eventually, how has community helped you, or what are some of the things about community that have been helpful for you?
Okay. So a lot the same, going back a little bit, because I had so much shame and guilt about my authentic self. I tried to put myself as far away from the LGBTQIA community as I could. Even saying things negative about queer people or whatever. It's like, no, I don't associate, or I don't relate to that group of people at all. And so I kind of build up this stigma inside my own brain that was a bad group of people. And so, when this all came about, we went to our first conference, and they had a meet and greet beforehand on the Thursday night. And I remember sitting out in the parking lot for a little while and thinking, ooh, do I want to go in here? And I struggled for a bit and then decided, well, I'm here, I might as well go in. And I went in the front door, and like Kit said, the person that met me at the front door, and I've told this story a whole bunch, could tell that I was just almost traumatized, deer in the headlights or something. Took me in their arms, gave me just like Kit said, the most warm, genuine, loving hug, and said, I don't know what brought you here tonight, but everything will be okay.
And he's been our friend ever since, too.
And I immediately knew that I could be okay. That I had found friends, that I had found a community that would love me and welcome me. And
humans, we need
that
that,
meant
right?
a lot, which is when I realized that I have to tell you, this community is the most caring, loving, compassionate group of people I have ever met. And I'm just so honored and privileged that I can even say I associate with them. And that's been a big community for me. I found community everywhere, like at my school. Work was great. I find community out in public.
Right.
Tell us about, I don't have the right name for the group in Oregon, the Tea Ladies. I know I'm not saying that right. Tell me about them.
The Rose City Tea Girls. So
There you go.
Rose City, Portland, Oregon,
Okay.
is a group of transgender women that get together. They have a Facebook call every Monday night.
Okay.
They
Zoom
go out,
call.
Zoom call. And they go out to dinner every Wednesday in Portland.
Oh.
They're just a great group of wonderful people. And I think that's the other thing that helped me find community, is realizing that it's a huge spectrum.
Yeah.
You get in that habit of putting people in boxes. That if you identify as this, then this is you. And you find that just like everything else, it's a huge spectrum. This group up in Portland, there are those who are out full time. There are those who are only out on the Zoom call. There are those that'll go to the Wednesday dinner. There are those who don't. There are those who are active in religion. There are those who are not.
Right.
There are small little petite people in the group, and there are very large, big, not petite people in the group. And it's just a wonderful group of people. And you get together, and I just, where there's love,
Yeah.
there's the Spirit.
And we met
There's
them.
Jesus.
We met them because we'd done a podcast, and someone up there heard it and went, your experience is so similar to ours, and reached out to us.
Yeah, they did.
And
Really?
now they have been, permanent friends.
Such good
and
friends.
then we love to go up to the Northwest, and so we time our trips so that we're there at least for one Wednesday dinner. To go into town and see our friends there. And so, that they reached out to us clear down in Utah and welcomed us.
That
and
just shows you don't have to start a group, right? You don't have to be the one that starts it, but community is so important to all humans. We all need to feel connected, and this what a great example of being able to, social media has a lot of frailties, but it also can connect us in ways that are really important.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that you'd found it on Facebook. That's so great.
That is really cool. Well, and I love how
they found us.
Yeah,
they
that was
found you
really
all.
found
Yeah,
them. Yes,
yeah.
yes,
part.
I loved being accepted so much like that part of my thing has been since then kind of
Making sure we
searching
reach
out the new people that are afraid or
love that.
trying to empathize with the other spouses and talk through what's scaring them or bothering them or whatever. it's not. I talk more when I'm nervous, so it's not really a comfort. I really am out of my comfort zone when I do that, but I don't appear to be. But
Well, good for
that's
you
part
for
of. I
doing
think
that,
what I
Kit.
try to do with building bridges is,
Yeah.
this is okay, and you're going to be okay,
Yeah.
and
I love that you're reaching out to spouses of trans people, because that, like, there's trans people, we get to tell our stories a lot, right? We get to, we kind of get the spotlight a fair amount in the trans community, or even in the LGBTQ community these days.
Yeah.
But spouses don't always get that space, right, to tell your story, because you're transitioning too, right? You're a part of this journey in a really significant way. And spouses that stay with their partner, right? Partners that stay together, like, that's a really incredible journey, and a lot of us aren't fortunate enough to have had that experience. And so I love hearing the story of partners and spouses that have stayed with their partner as they've
Yeah, that's
transitioned.
beautiful.
Yeah, it's really incredible.
And I also think, to empathize with, I mean, really, if it doesn't work to stay together, I really like to try, and that's like, it doesn't have to be amicable. I mean, it can be amicable. You can
Right.
still be friends.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
This
Yeah.
isn't, because I hope that it's not a betrayal. I try and, talk it through.
Right.
This isn't a betrayal.
This is a
Of you.
big thing. Yeah,
I mean,
this is huge.
Yeah, it's not a betrayal of you. They actually were, trans people who kept it hidden for so many years, almost were betraying themselves.
right.
And,
Yeah,
and it's difficult. Doesn't make it any less difficult that it was, you didn't know, or that they kept it quiet, or
Right.
that it's not comfortable for you to stay married.
Right.
But that doesn't mean it has to be an angry thing.
Right.
right. You can
people-
still be in each other's lives.
Yes,
Yeah.
people get divorced for a lot of reasons,
Totally.
and they're not always, and so it's okay if it doesn't work anymore, but
Right.
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be it doesn't have to be an angry, they betrayed me.
Right.
I was betrayed. They lied to me. It's like, because I
Right.
don't think that it ever is malicious
Yeah.
towards the spouse.
Yeah.
That's an amazing point, that they
Yeah,
were
it's-
betraying themselves,
Yeah.
lying
Yeah.
to themselves to some
Just
degree,
as much.
and so
One-
just
Yeah.
trying to survive and manage things that they don't necessarily know how to be open about, like
Yeah.
listening to Bree's story of the shame and the guilt and all of these things that she was dealing with, and how she tried to cope with it, and
Yeah.
it's an amazing story. So our last little part of this episode, I'd like to focus on bridge building, because I've seen you both doing that. I pulled something up, a definition that I wanted to read. When we talk about building bridges, one definition of a bridge is a structure built to span a physical obstacle without blocking the path underneath. It is constructed for the purpose of providing passage over the obstacle, which is usually something that is otherwise difficult or impossible to cross. Does this definition bring up thoughts as to bridging the span from the LDS community and the trans community? Because I've seen Bree came and spoke at our Arizona All Gather conference a couple of years ago.
Yes,
And then
thanks.
she
It
also-
was so fun.
It was so great.
It was.
And then you presented at the first Gather conference in Provo. What does bridge building, where does that come into your journey?
So, this is kind of a hard question, but
Sorry.
yeah. For me, what I experience with bridge building here is, again, it's back to community. It's interesting to see a community not just outside of the church that is open and welcoming and warm, but I find a community within the LDS church that it's the people. I was just thinking a minute ago, we go to these conferences, and anymore we go to see our friends. It's not so much that we go for the breakouts or for the keynote speakers, and not not to say, I don't want to say anything negative or say that's not a good thing. If you need that, it's great. For us, it's the community. And community under kind of a religious umbrella it has been really wonderful. And I love that I feel a bridge between the community in the church and myself. How do I say, not so not so much the church, but the people in the church.
Yeah.
I don't know. There are a lot of people out there that are still dealing with the policy change from last August.
Yes.
It was difficult, and that's an obstacle to overcome. It's interesting that I have people ask me if I still go to church, and I tell them yes, because I'm trying to build a bridge over that obstacle that came out last August. I want people to see me. I want people to know that I and my community or transgender people are not bad.
Right.
We're great people, and it's a huge spectrum. And it's okay if we're friends, and it's okay if we support and love each other. And so building this bridge over some difficult things that have kind of come about recently, I try and do that every Sunday. I try and do that by staying involved. And I do that by staying in touch with the people in this community, people that I know that are stepping away from the church, people that I know that are still all in. But we can build a bridge between us. And part of that is I quite often think back to a quote from Brene Brown. I mean, we knew if we had this session, we'd have to have a quote from Brene.
Of course.
Courage is showing up and being seen, even when you can't control the outcome. And that's kind of how I view being still going to church on Sunday. I show up and I be seen. And sometimes I don't like the outcome, and sometimes I do, but I still show up. I want to be seen, and I do that everywhere. I try and build a bridge everywhere I go. I try and greet people. I try and be happy. I try and be positive. I try and leave them feeling better about having met me or talked to me than before we met. And we can build those kind of bridges everywhere. And when we reach out with love and compassion, that's what makes really good friendships. That's the lasting friendship, is when your friendship is based on authenticity and just uncompassioned love. So, yeah.
Uncompassionate. Unconditional.
Unconditional. There we go.
Unconditional. Compassionate love.
You knew what I was trying to say, regardless.
I gotcha. So you talked about earlier when you were still in the middle of transitioning and the toll that it would take as you prepared to dress as a man for church when you were still doing that. And I felt, that really pricked my heart of just how hard that was and that you were doing it. And now at this stage where you're fully transitioned and you're still participating in an organization that has instituted that policy that is very, very painful. It's painful for me, and I'm not a trans woman. It's painful because I know the damage that it does to people like you, to parents with children who are trans or non-binary. It just, it does cause a lot of pain. And I don't think everybody needs to show up because of that. I think people need to listen to where they're being guided to be and what they can do and what's good for them mental health wise. But I think it's so amazing. One of you, when we were talking before doing the podcast, had mentioned that you go and you get asked questions, and people do, not only do you leave them feeling good because you're there and because you're wonderful, but you're also someone that then, if they do have a question, oh, I heard this in the media, or I heard this on the news, or I read this in the paper, and, but I see you in front of me, and speaking of incongruence, it's not congruent what I'm reading or hearing and who you are, and for you to be there and be able to answer their questions or just expose them to your wonderfulness, that's amazing. And that is bridge building right there.
Incredible bridge building. Yes.
Yeah, you're right, Liz. It's different for everybody.
Yes.
Everybody's experience is different, and I'm not saying, oh, go and show up.
No.
But I can do that.
Yeah.
And same thing that, I've heard from other people. Well, our bishop told me it was okay for me to go to Relief Society. And it's like, no, I'm not going unless we can all go.
Yeah.
So it's community, and it's my community, or it's not. So, but just a short example, 2 weeks ago Sunday, really good friend of ours, they greet us every Sunday, give us a hug, tell us how much they love us. If we're not there, they make sure that they let us know they missed us.
Right.
She was giving me a hug at the door, and she said, so I don't know how to ask this, but what made you decide to transition?
Oh.
We had half an hour conversation.
Wow.
And she's an older lady, but she has lots of grandkids and lots of kids. And for her to have the interest and then to gain that knowledge, so that she can be a positive influence on on her family,
Absolutely.
I think is really important. And we have cute ladies in our ward that call and invite us to the church activities, which is great. But then just the other day, one of them said, do you want to go to Relief Society with us? And I'm like, Bree can't go to Relief Society. And I know she doesn't really. There are so many people in the church that don't know that. She's like, that stinks.
Well, that stinks.
But she didn't even know that. So I'm hoping in a way. And I just said, oh, thanks so much for asking this. But Bree can't go to Relief Society, so I don't think, I'm not going to go either. Yeah. And so hopefully that will open her up to more questions and to looking into things, because she knows us and has invited us. So we go to the ward things when she invites us sometimes. Yeah. But, I don't know that she realized that.
No.
So I'm
hope sure. And that's so great for you to share that with them so that they can understand that better. I remember when you were here in Arizona for the All Conference a few years ago, and you went to church with Eric and I, and it was a Relief Society week, and you both came in with me. This was before the policy. Yeah. And I just loved being able to introduce my cousin and her wife. And I loved that my sisters in my ward just were so enveloping of you both. And I loved, Bree made a comment. I don't remember what the lesson was on, but I remember Bree made a comment, and it was lovely. And we are missing that right now. Yeah. We are missing that. And I think it matters that you were there and that people could see that my cousin and her wife were attending with us, and they are lovely, and they have lovely thoughts to share, and we are missing that. So I just wanted to share that, because that's a great memory for me.
And thanks, Liz. Us too. I can remember back, I think that was the first time that somebody introduced us as wives.
Oh,
it's so sweet, Liz.
I mean, you are.
Yeah.
It's just a fact. But gosh, thank you. That was really tender for you to share that, and for people to understand that that's just one of the effects of the policy. And until people understand it and know about it, we can't
change
address it. Right?
Well, we can't change it until we realize, the whole church realizes how much everyone misses out when we don't get to participate fully, right? Yeah. That hurts all of us. Yeah.
I think an important part of this bridge building thing, right? Generally, if you've ever watched them build a bridge, you build a bridge from both sides, then you meet in the middle.
Oh,
and so I look at that as grace begets grace. if I give grace from my side, generally it brings grace from the other side. And you build that bridge between the two of you from both sides giving grace.
Yeah.
And you can meet in the middle as long as, so it doesn't have to be angry, it doesn't have to be hostile, it doesn't have to be antagonistic.
Yeah.
But if we build our bridge with grace from both sides, then we can meet in the middle.
I love that.
The situation before COVID when Bree met for her temple recommend, that was pretty tumultuous and rocky for a while,
yeah,
but
it was really hard.
At the end, that person said
built a
to
bridge.
us, I want to thank you for preparing me to deal kindly with my family.
Wow.
And we're like, what? And it's like, my grandson came home from his mission and came out as gay.
Oh,
And
wow.
before our experience, this person had been quite unkind. Our ward had, for some reason, the ward we were in had, half a dozen young men come out as gay, and a couple, Bree and one other, is trans, and
Wow.
there was a lot. And this person was pretty antagonistic against it, thinking it was a fad that the kids were going through, and just all of the myths that are out there.
Dismissive of them.
And I think because Bree and this person were more peers, I mean, they were friends, and going through it over the years and talking, and I send them podcasts and, so many things. At the end, just before they were released, they said, thank you for preparing me to deal kindly with my family. And
Wow.
he said, and we're like, okay, what are you talking about? And he said, my grandson came home and he's gay, and I'm going to love him, and I'm going to accept him. And it was like, okay,
Wow.
this was really hard. It was really, really hard, but a heart was changed at least a little bit. I'm sure when people make those decisions, they go back and forth. It's like, no, yes, no. But at least he said that to us, and he had told Bree he would never call her Bree, and he did when we last saw her. And so it was like, oh, this isn't just a teenage fad. Oh, this isn't, because we were able to tell him about a number of we have a lot of peers that are close to our age that have been married as long as we have, that are now finally getting to be their authentic selves.
Yeah.
It isn't a teenage fad, it's just the teenagers are just lucky they don't have to live in
50 years
in secret and in shame, and so
Exactly.
it's like, we went through it. It was hard, but maybe we changed some hearts
And again,
during that time.
Yeah.
I think in that situation, again, we remain friends.
Even though he was really not nice.
It was hard, but we remained friends. We kept communication open. We approached it with grace. And in the end, we received grace back. And
That's
there's a
incredible.
connection there now.
Well,
You have both been such good examples
Yes.
of that for me.
Wow.
Both when you're presenting at something or just in person, and watching you and seeing you navigate in the world. Gosh, we were both so excited to be able to interview you so that other people get to hear your story. I know you've been on other podcasts, but I'm so glad that we were able to highlight community and bridge building with you two, because I think you're excellent examples of both, even though you were wondering why we were asking you to come on here.
You are. You're both incredible bridge builders and community builders, and that impacts so many people. That story is such a beautiful illustration of that. You got to impact this longtime friend, but also generations of his family, and that's incredible.
So.
Yeah.
And we do have game nights every now and then. We do some, just not as consistently as some people do. We post out and have people come over. And enough that it was really cute. One young person that lives, probably 30, 45 minutes from us, called one night and said, what are you doing? Can we have a game night? And it was like, yes, you're welcome to come here. And I thought, oh, good. We did.
Yeah, come on over.
It was so cute. They brought their mom
really
and
sweet.
their mom's boyfriend, and we had another friend over, and it was just fun. I'm like, I'm so glad you're comfortable. Just calling and saying, we need a game night. We need some shows. Please come. And so that was really sweet that they would do that too. So we do some of that.
I remember thinking back as we started this part of my journey and our journey.
Yeah.
When this happened, it was traumatic. And then I remember thinking, what am I to learn from this? So now what do I do? How do I go forward? What does this mean? And it became, to me, it was, now it's up to me to make sure other people don't have to live through what I lived for 50 years. That I need to be an ally and an advocate and open and vocal about this group and make sure that people know they're loved, that they're not broken, that they're wonderful, amazing human beings, and that there's a world out there that will love them. And that's where I find myself on my journey now. And I've met just so many wonderful, amazing people. So I couldn't be more grateful.
And it's good to do newer podcasts because we listened to the one we did. It's like, they're kind of obsolete after a number of years.
5 years ago, it was very different.
You do change.
I hope we're learning and growing and evolving, right?
Exactly.
And you're a different part on your path.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm glad that those other podcasts are out there and that someone can listen to them. But it's like, but things have changed.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
That's how
we
it
should
life
realize
is,
that
right?
those are good,
Exactly.
good information. But things change over 3 to 5 years and 10
Yeah.
years. And stuff
Met a
like that.
friend a few years ago. He said,
Absolutely.
"So Bree, when did you transition?" And I said, "Well, when did you?" You're different than you were 10 years ago, and you're certainly
True.
different than you were when you were a teenager.
Yeah.
We all
Yeah.
change, we all transition. This just happens to be where I am on my journey.
Yep.
Exactly.
Oh,
Love that.
Well, when did you start this part of your journey? Oh, 5 years ago.
I love that.
That's great. Well, ladies, thank you so much for being here with us today. We really appreciate it. I loved every minute of it.
Me too.
We appreciate your good hearts and your willingness to tell your stories.
Yes. Thank you
Well,
for being
thank
who you are.
Liz and Michael, we love you both. And
Love
it was
you
a
too.
pleasure to be with you. We're just so honored.
Wish we were there.
Wish we were
should
there.
travel after this,
Yes.
We're not in
Well-
summer. We should come in December or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a
yeah.
hot today.
It's
so.
a little too hot here. We should come up there.
Okay.
Well, we again are so grateful for you, and we will end another episode of All Out in the Open. Thank you.